Ever since the one-to-one computing initiative, where schools across the country were giving children a laptop at a very young age, we have neglected some core academic and metacognitive skills necessary for learning. And it started with literacy, the importance of reading and writing. And let me just talk about the writing. I'm going to ignore reading importance right now and the gap there. That's another conversation in another video series. But in regards to writing, as soon as we gave our children laptops, teachers have felt empowered, which has been appropriately so, to develop those online skills for engaging, right, in the 21st century learning, and completely ignored the importance of writing skills. And I don't mean writing in terms of writing a 5-paragraph essay on your computer. What I'm talking about is literacy skills in relation to penmanship, in relation to writing fluency, in relation to being able to think on paper, and how important that link is to the deeper understanding that plays out in the higher learning platforms of education. And students that are really crippled in their own handwriting, in their own penmanship, in their own fluency skills, makes it really hard for them to achieve certain levels of milestones in academic performance because they don't have some of those foundational prerequisite skills for managing the learning. And that's really what it comes down to, is children are struggling. So many students that I see, and I'm a special ed teacher of 20 plus years, as well as the owner of Effective Ever Consulting, an executive function coaching company, working with students and parents across the country. And we see so many of our clients come in with significant gaps in their ability to read their own handwriting or manage in writing the flow of content. And what I mean really is when you're in the classroom and you have to take notes, what do? Most kids do nothing. They can't type fast enough. And even if they could, that's not necessarily the best answer to develop some of those deeper cognitive skills needed for some of the higher level academic competencies and future career paths that are necessary, and a real logical direction for so many of our children that are super bright, super capable, but really struggle in the penmanship area for various reasons. Maybe it's executive function challenges, maybe it's gross fine motor issues, doesn't really matter, but they weren't given the training in elementary school years to develop those skills. They weren't taught penmanship, they weren't taught cursive. And then therefore they had to go figure it out on their own. And some did, and many others didn't. And so by the time they got to middle school, maybe throw in a pandemic in the middle there, they're entering middle school or high school 2, 3, 4 grade levels below in writing literacy, in penmanship, in fluency. It's a big concern, and I just want to acknowledge that for many of the parents on this video that are watching and sharing in this concern. And what do we do? Well, there should be a question. Question should be answered in most public schools at this point. What do we do? Do we reestablish some of the old school lessons that we used to learn in terms of developing those skills, or do we continue to ignore it and focus on 21st century engagement through one-to-one computing? It's definitely a good question, and hopefully the stakeholders out there in the educational community focus on the answer.